Apparently he has no kids, so he ain't got time for that.
There isn't no more pain, but there's no more pain than the rest of my body. Good morning, it's surgery morning and we're getting ready to leave, but I never get thirsty, and just because I can't drink things this morning, my body's like, water, give me water, but I'm not going to, so sorry my bud. And I'm bringing little bunny and big bunny, and I almost forgot you. And then when I'm in surgery, he'll come back here and get clothes and whatever else and eat lunch, and then I'll be done. We just got honked at on our way to the hospital by a school bus.
Apparently we were going too slow for a school bus.
He was like pushing us down the street practically, and then we didn't go when apparently he thought we were going to, so then he honked at us. Great
it's
thing.
Like there's speed bumps in the middle of the roads, but apparently he has no kids, so he ain't got time for that.
Apparently not. But we're on Good Luck Road on our way to the hospital. There's the sign, we're gonna pass it. Garbage truck. There it is. We're whispering because I'm supposed to be changing, but I did tell them about the whole period situation, and they brought this in here, but am I supposed to change in here? Because like, okay. Hi guys.
Good morning, Marty.
We're FaceTiming them from the pre-op area, and now you're sitting on my foot. And of course, I'm wearing a nudist gown again, which I couldn't even tie. So for the first little bit, I was just like out there. And then they tied it for me. And now
the entire pre-op area.
And now I'm only like half flashing them because the armholes are quite large. And I am not quite large, so every once in a while it kind of feels like my boob is coming out of the armhole. I'm sure you all wanted to know that. Well, the case before me is taking a bit longer than expected, so now my operation time is at later than it was before.
One-ish.
Probably like one-ish, and it's 12:37 and 29 seconds right now. I don't know why I'm whispering because they can clearly see me, but the person before me, it's taking quite a bit longer than expected because they originally said an hour, and then they came back again and said another hour and a half. Hello! I had surgery and it was a success. Or the head surgery was a success. I think I explained about that like a few weeks ago. It was great, and I guess I'll just share all about that, especially because we didn't vlog at all in the hospital. My dad doesn't really vlog. I mean, I don't think we've ever had a Leslie cam moment, but my mom would vlog for me. And since she's not here with us, she's back at home with Nolan, and because of chemo and all the things, she didn't come with us, so he sent her videos and pictures of like everything. So we have videos and pictures of like everything, so I'll just put them in over my face as I talk. I'll just start from when we got here. So we got here on Sunday, which I kept calling Monday, and so my days have been messed up since we got here. And then the Monday after that we had the pre-op stuff. So pre-op is like check-in, blood work, talk to the pharmacist and the anesthesiologist for surgery the next day. But that day we met this lady named Edie and her husband Scott, and they were super nice, and we were talking to them because we're both wearing neck braces in the waiting room, and we're like, I think we know why we're here. And then so let's just get to talking. And she and he were very nice, and they're very helpful to us because this was my first surgery. It was her 14th surgery. I am really hoping I don't get to 14 neck surgeries, but she also had to come to our neurosurgeon, the one that operated on both of us, to fix something that happened with another neurosurgeon, or a lot of things actually. So I hopefully won't get to that point. I guess it's the end of that story. But they're really nice, and after meeting them in the pre-op day, we were kind of just cheering each other on in the healing process in the hospital. And like, her goal was to walk down to my room. I probably would not have been able to walk down to her room because my walking never got that good. That's kind of a whole mixed story that is in the vlog. I might tell it in a moment here too. But so then the day we show up to the hospital for surgery, I wear a neck brace, I mean obviously, and then I switched from all my clothing to a gown and the hat thing, and I think I have a picture. My surgery went perfectly. I don't know how long it was, but I don't have very many memories of that night or the next morning or most of the next day actually. But how I do remember, like, for some reason I have a very clear memory of right when I was waking up from anesthesia. And first I remember holding my breath. I don't know why. That's something that I've done going into anesthesia before too. So I have been intubated while I was awake because I wasn't breathing on my own, and obviously you can't go without breathing on your own. But I remember as I'm waking up, everybody yelling for me to breathe because I just wasn't, and a lot of commotion and then me breathing. And then I also remember crying and crying and crying and crying. I don't really remember the crying part, but when my surgeon came out to check on how I was waking up, they were telling him that I just kept crying and crying, and I claimed I wasn't in any pain, but I just kept crying. I wasn't in pain. I was super nauseous. I do remember that too. And then after that I don't have any memories, which is probably good because they had me up and walking that night. And then the next morning I don't have very many memories of it either. But they had me walking again the next morning.
They're going right to that chair we have set up for you, okay?
And then the speech and swallowing person came, who happens to know Sharon. I don't actually know what their job in the hospital is called. I should, because I mean Sharon does this, but I don't think she does it in a hospital. That's totally beside the point. But she came and she saw our name on my name on the whatever that tells them who to go see and our address, and she was like, for sure these are relatives of Sharon, and of course we are. So it was just, I guess, awesome that but this girl, she happens to be one of the people there aren't very many people that I come across in life that I just automatically am able to speak to. We've had a little talk I've explained a little bit about this before, that I have selective mutism, which is an anxiety of speaking, which actually vlogging has really helped with that, because for the most part I'll just kind of say anything nowadays depending on who is around me. So when I'm with my family, they're just like, you kind of say crazy stuff now. Which I'm also coming to realize that most people don't memorize like entire conversations as you're having them, which sounds crazy, but I have like these recording like memories of conversations, a lot of conversations swirling around in my head all the time. So I oftentimes like pull phrases out of conversations that I have swirling around in there when I speak. Can't remember what that was. Oh, she happens to be one of those people that I can just talk to. And I actually hugged her, which again is a very big shocker, because as much as I don't talk to people, I don't hug people. That's just a thing about me. I think it's because I'm really short, and so whenever I hug most people, I either get a face full of chest or a face full of boob, and it's just not the most pleasant experience for me. And then in addition to that, like when I have issues with just being touched in general. Very, very, very long way to say I really liked it, and I talked to her, and I'm not selling someone out until like, I'll just cut that part out. She was there to help get me to eat because I'm not a person who enjoys eating at all. I actually really hate eating because it's just painful for me from the moment I swallow all the way through all of my insides. It's just painful. So I don't like to eat. And they had to get me to start eating because you need things for your body to rebuild with after surgery. So they had me trying to eat these itty bitty pieces of melon. They're cantaloupe melons. I don't know who cut them that small, but I don't even have the patience to cut things that small. But I ate a few of those. But only thing I remember eating apparently from that breakfast time where they were trying to get me to eat, and it just wasn't going very well because I'm not interested in food and I'm all like drugged up, so I'm not really there, and so they're all offering me things and I have a terrible swallow, so it's just bad. But I do remember, however, at one point taking a spoon and scooping out a piece of bread. That's the only memory I have from that morning. But also, while she was there, she helped my dad with my hair, because apparently when they were shaving my head during surgery, there's like a section of, I think about like this big on the back of my head that is shaved. While they're shaving my hair off from the back of my head, they were not removing it from the ponytail. I guess obviously to keep it sterile in there. However, they were pulling out handfuls of hair as they're trying to undo my ponytail. And my dad, I don't think would know what to do with all the hair, so she helped him with that, since I was unable to assist, since I don't even remember it happening. Which also I left on oxygen for like a day apparently, and I didn't fight them on keeping it on my face. Usually it's a fight to even let them stick the things up my nose with it off. And I took a really, really, really sad selfie. I don't know who let me have my phone or why, but that selfie is something, because I can't imagine why anybody else would take that picture, so I'm assuming it's a selfie. Dun 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 dun. We got into that pain nausea cycle that we have with my body, where every time we let my nausea just get out of hand, we start to get into this cycle of nausea, which causes pain for me. On the top of my head, I get super nauseous, like I'm being drilled into the top of my head of pain from narcotics, which when you're in the hospital, you have pain, they'll give you narcotics, and then which gives me nausea, which then gives me more pain, and it cycles and cycles and cycles, and then we're just going out of control of, they're giving me the highest doses you can't give a person my size, and I'm in more pain when they're done with it, and nobody's catching the loop that's happening, and it's just spinning out of control, to the point where, again, not very many memories at this time. I'm really glad about it, but they did get me to eat a cracker. However, I vomited up that cracker less than a second after swallowing it. I remember not even feeling the thing go down my throat before I threw it up. When that was finally through, well, every day they had me walking to, and then I don't know what days, well, Friday, so I don't really remember much of Thanksgiving Day, but I do remember Friday. And Friday, they had me get up and walking again, and well, I mean, every day they have you walking with physiotherapy and then just walking in general just to strengthen your bod. So they had me walking. My dad was taking videos of my walking, and my walking was actually improving. I walk very chicken walkish, and then it was less, and I didn't have to pick up my knees as much, but I was still I I can't remember what they call it. There's a term for when you walk, you like turn your feet in. Don't remember what it's called, but that's something that I do, as well as my feet kind of just flop. Friday, I also had the drain removed from my neck. I should have warned at the beginning of this video, but the drain pictures are probably in the video. They cut it out. There's a stitch around it, and they cut the stitch, which the lady who's doing this is, I think it's a doctor. Anyway, she's back there, and she's like, did you feel that? No. Should I have felt that? I don't know if I should have felt her remove the stitch or not, but I didn't. And then they pull out, she's like, I'm gonna pull out the T-bone for her. I think we have a,
It should not hurt you, okay?
I may not even have to describe this. I think there's a video of it, of her removing the drain and then cut off. It's a few minutes long. Anyways, I had a drain in the back of my head. I currently do not. Because we got out Saturday morning, so Friday was a bumpy day. Not so much with pain, well, yes, with pain. Friday was a very, very bumpy day in that I woke up in the morning, everything was okay. Everything was being handled. We were good. They had to put in another IV, so I started out with pre-surgery 2 IVs. Then they had to stick 1 or 2 more after that, after I got up to the floor. But I have really, really sucky veins, and this arm had been used for blood draws Monday and Friday, I think. So neither of those places could be used, and then Friday morning I accidentally, so this IV was not in very much. It was broken too, so it's not like it was working anymore, but it was still in my hand. I was talking and I bumped it, and the whole cannula flung out of the hole. I was gonna stick it back in, but I mean, I guess that's not a thing. But I don't know if that would even worked, but the hole was very much so open and bleeding, and I was just like, probably aim it back into that. But that's not a thing, so I didn't do that. Anyways, Friday morning, I lose vein access, and they're like, great, we're keeping you here today to make sure that your pain and nausea is under control, because just yesterday morning was an awful morning and it was not under control, and there was a bunch of pain spikes throughout the day. But anyways, so Friday, lose IV site in the morning. Nurses all day are coming in and out looking, see if they can get another vein just in case, and especially because some of my meds are not ordered pill, even though they were supposed to be. So they're still so they were just not giving the ones that were supposed to be IV because there was no IV site. All day, and the nurses were like, you should have had a midline or a PICC line, and that's what even the lady who put in the IVs at first said, which I don't know why she said that and then didn't do it. The night nurse comes on shift, and he thinks he's gonna be Superman and do the IV. He dug so hard. I've never felt someone dig that much in a hand, ever. And he was digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. I was like, you just poked a hole through the other side of that vein. And he was like, no, I didn't. As this bubble under my skin of blood creates, and I'm like, holy moly. And then so that had to be, they had to squeeze it and drain. IV site, don't have an IV site, so he has to call the doctor. I also forgot to say that the speech therapist, Katie, she came back and was talking to us Friday night and was evaluating my swallowing some more, and I was telling her about how things go in my nose and everything, and she was listening, and like my esophagus is a bit slow, but the rest of me is a bit slow too, so I guess it just joined the club, esophagus. She left to go type up what she had told me, and then the nurse came in and did the whole IVs debacle, and so then he leaves, and he's has to go call the doctor and see what we're gonna do about the meds that are ordered, because at this point I'm in so much pain that we need the IV med again, because it's not ordered orally, even though there is an oral version of it. So they call the doctor, and at this point I'm in so much pain I can't even talk. just laying there trying to disappear into the bed, and they'll come back in. Doctor's still on the phone. She said she's gonna order it. It finally came, like, I think like 30 or 40 minutes later. Anyways, he was there with us through the whole time. She was there until like 11:30 with us doing this. Then Saturday morning rolls around. The doctor, before she left this debacle to happen, she had also told us that she had my discharge papers in the computer ready to go. My prescriptions were sent because I was supposed to be leaving Saturday morning. We wake up Saturday morning. My discharge papers are not done. My prescriptions are not done. There's only 2 of the 5 that were supposed to be done, and there are the 2 that we also happen to have with us because I was on them prior to, and I don't know why I now have a second prescription of, but they're calling her and calling her and calling her and calling her and calling her. Actually, they're calling the neurosurgeon's office because she's a doctor from the neurosurgery office, and nothing. Not picking up. No idea. They finally get a hold of her, and she's like, yeah, I'm coming in. I'll come in and do it right now. Waiting. I think it was like 6 hours later. She comes, and then finally get to leave. I'm in, again, so much pain, even though at this point there is no more pain in the part of my neck that, or I guess there isn't no more pain, but there's no more pain than the rest of my body. She comes and we get the prescriptions, and I'm sitting there again, like trying to blend into the wall and disappear. So then my dad has to get me, and this hospital, you guys, it has the largest speed bumps I have ever felt in my days. I don't know if they are just speed bumps that feel large because I had surgery, but I think they felt large when we came here in October too. Then Saturday and Sunday we're here at the hotel just resting pretty much, and I'm celebrating all of my new things that I can do. I can brush my teeth now. I can brush my own hair now. I can give myself a shower now-ish. I can't wash my hair yet because of the incision is still not fully healed, and we need to wait for that before I can wash my hair, because, you know, pulling on the scalp away from that probably wouldn't be a good idea. And then also, you don't really want shower water in your head. My 2 main things. 1, I have full arm range of motion again in both arms. Although this arm does hurt so much, which that started about 5 days after surgery, and I kind of told my neurosurgeon about it, kind of didn't during my follow-up appointment. I tried to. As we know, I stumble across my words a lot. Getting to the point when I am talking is not my biggest strength in life. And my number 2 main thing that I've wanted from all of this time, like the past 2-ish years, I have been wanting for this one thing. I can lay down and sleep at the same time. Yes! Now, however, that does not mean that I am automatically like, bam, laying flat to sleep, because I've been sitting upright so long. I've been pretty much almost in a sitting up position to sleep for the past 2.5 years, or slowly getting higher. At the beginning it wasn't a completely sitting up position. I am not going to be laying flat just immediately because of sitting up for so long. It feels like I'm upside down when I'm sleeping, and that's a crazy feeling to feel. Whenever I lay down, I feel like I'm hanging upside down because my body's not used to being laying flat anymore. So I have to slowly ease myself into that, but I am getting there, and I'm so excited. Today is, I think, 1 week and 1 day from surgery, and I've had a lot of improvements especially of things pertaining to the use of my hands because I can move them great, and it's amazing. And I can move my face evenly again, and my tongue moves evenly again, which is great. However, there have been some things that I have noticed after surgery have either gotten worse or are new-ish. So something that's new-ish is that when I tilt my head in either direction, which, yeah, like, I know, don't wrench your head around after surgery. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like, if I tilt my body, I can feel the bones, I guess, the joints below my fusion, like, pop off of each other, which is disgusting. So when I return to middle, I can hear them clunk or click back into place. It's so gross. And I did ask my neurosurgeon about that, and he said that is what is happening, and that's not going to get better until it's strengthened. So gotta get strengthening. Weird arm pain and like this palm pain is new, and my legs hurt way more than they did before surgery, which, I mean, obviously I didn't think that was gonna get a ton better because your legs are really far away from your head. I can't feel my feet, and I say I can't feel my feet, but it's not like they're not there. I completely know that they are there, and I can feel like pressure from the floor on them, but I can't feel hot, cold, or like physical pain of like jabbing something into my legs is not going to hurt them. They hurt and they burn, and it pretty much feels like I've been dipped in fire from the waist down. And my feet, back to the feet numbness thing though, it's weird, and the only thing I can describe it or even connect it to is what this hand felt like before surgery. It's what my feet feel like now. And something that's semi-newish, again, I can't believe I'm saying this on the internet, I said the same thing in my pre-surgery video about the peeing problems, that I didn't really know what to say about them then either, but now I cannot feel if I need to go at all whatsoever, not at all. And I already started a new med for that, and we're calling the neurosurgeon office tomorrow because the pain in my legs has gotten a lot worse in the past, today's only Wednesday, 2 days since Monday. It was just like, yeah, my legs are like hurting quite a bit, but nothing alarming for me at least. And then yesterday they were hurting a bit more, and then this evening I was like whining and crying about my legs, which that's why I turned you guys on, so that I could just talk instead of think about the things of my bod. I've been warned about the lower body symptoms getting worse after surgery for a while, and I just couldn't. I was hearing everybody's concerns, I couldn't listen to them, and now I see where we've landed ourselves, where we're like, well, now what do we do? The few days like directly after surgery, before I started noticing all the things that aren't really going well, like my the numbness in my feet and all that, I felt like a superhero. Until I talk at you again. Bye.